How's it going, my friend? It is Danny here from ProjectManaverse.com, real world technical project management for beginners. And in this video, I'm going to give you 5 productivity hacks for project managers. So first of all, what do I mean by a productivity hack for a project manager? Well, for me, a productivity hack is any action I can take, any habit I can put in place that by doing it will give me a large return on investment for my time or my effort. And the return on investment needs to be something like a volume of outcome on my project, an increase of the project being a success, or a decreased risk of failure. So that's what I mean. So I want to put in a bit of effort and get a big return, either in outcome or reduce risk or increased chance of success. So why should you care about these productivity hacks as a project manager? Well, as a project manager, what you want to do is to create as much time for yourself as possible to focus on the important things. That is really critical as a project manager. Being a project manager, you are in a battle against chaos. You're being pulled in a million different directions. You're being asked by senior leaders to do things that aren't necessarily conducive to a successful project. They're distracting you from the real things you need to be doing to deliver a project successfully. And I've got to say that a lot of the core habits that the project managers should be doing, we're just not doing these days. We're getting too distracted because they're not urgent enough for us to be doing them, even though they are very important. So things like focusing on your project plan, maintaining that, doing your risks and issues, chasing up actions, all those core responsibilities of a project manager. Sometimes we're being distracted away from those things because of urgent things and firefighting and people, senior leaders that are just distracting us and pulling us away from our core responsibilities because they don't really understand delivery. So it's really important we protect our time and create time for ourselves to do those things. And by doing productivity hacks, you can save your time and protect your time to focus on those things. That's why it's really important. You want to learn and apply as many of these as possible. And I like to really focus on the high leverage hack. So you put a bit of effort in and you get a big return. So that's what we're talking about in this video. So let's move on to the 5 productivity hacks. Productivity hack number 1 is the old school classic to-do list. Now, you might think, oh my God, that's so amazing, a to-do list. I never thought of that. But a to-do list is very underrated. And I think we've forgotten how powerful it is. Sorry, someone's calling me. Let's stop that. How powerful it is. So what we want to do when an action pops up in our project, either for ourselves, something that we have to do or that someone else needs to do, you want to get it documented as quickly as possible. It's a complete disaster if you don't write it down at all anywhere. But what you want to do is get it documented and get it documented in one place. So you know all the actions for your project can be found in one place. And once you've documented it, then you can almost release that mental space now because you're not trying to hold on to it in the back of your mind that you have to remember to do that. You can get it down there and you can just let it go. Now, the important thing is when you have a to-do list, I said the first important thing, that is to keep it in one place. That's either in your notebook, put it in the back of your notebook. I used to do that, write down all my actions in the back so I have a big long list. Try not to do it throughout the notebook, otherwise you're jumping from one place to the other trying to find all your actions. Either put it right at the back in one place or just put it in a list on your Excel, or if you have something like OneNote from Microsoft, any kind of software like that where you can just capture them nicely, and if you can tick them off, that's even better. So get them in one place. But once you have your list, you want to get into a routine and habit of checking that list every so often. So there's no point in just having a to-do list if you just forget about it and never check it, because the actions will get lost. But you want to make it a habit. The key word is habit. You get into a routine and cycle, a systematic approach to making sure you're checking that to-do list, to making sure things are being done. And you can scan through your list, and if it's not too important or urgent, then you can just forget about it for a couple of days. But the big important ones will pop out to you so you can get them done when you need to. So that's hack number 1, because Number one, it saves you time from losing actions and forgetting about them, so you have to kind of chase them up, or it saves you time and effort on your project trying to fix things that have gone wrong because the action wasn't done. So number one, you want to save time by having to have the same conversation again and trying to remember what was said and getting the action down and giving it to someone. And number two, it saves time in the fact that it might cause a problem if the action is not done. So by making sure the action is captured and making sure it's going to get done, you're going to save negative impacts to your project, which will ultimately save time for you, less time firefighting and all that nonsense. So a very simple thing, very, very old, maybe the oldest productivity hack you can ever have is a to-do list, but make sure you do it, keep them in one place, and then get them reviewed, get yourself into a habit of reviewing them every so often, be it once a week, be it every day, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with and you feel is appropriate. So that's productivity hack number one. Productivity hack number two is to plan your next day. Now, this is really, really important. As a project manager, you never want to find yourself thinking, right, what do I need to do next? Because that wastes time, it causes indecision. You want to be decisive, you want to know exactly what you need to do so you don't have to waste any time trying to think what you should be doing. And if you don't have that clearly in your mind, again, it's very easy to get distracted by things that may seem important, or be distracted by getting pulled into this call or getting distracted by this conversation. Because if you don't have the next thing that you need to do clearly in your mind, then you can easily just get pulled into something else and you're doing things that aren't important or conducive to the success of your project. So you need to make sure you plan your next day. And this exercise doesn't take very long. What I like to do is, my process is, at the end of the day, I'll first of all clear out all my emails, and as I'm going through my emails, they might trigger some actions in my head. Right, I need to do this, I need to do that. And as those actions pop in my head, I'll get them on my to-do list, as I just talked about, so they're on there. And now I'll get a clean piece of paper. I like to do it on paper. I like to think on paper. And I break down my one sheet of paper into different sections of to-dos. I'll have emails, I'll have meetings I need to set up, I'll have administration, I'll have instant messaging or calls, people I need to go up to their desk and ask them something quickly, or just ping them a question, or just call them. And then I'll have analysis, things like reading through packs and trying to figure something out. And then I'll have planning. Those are my core areas of to do. And then I'll just think about some things you just know straight away in your head. I've got to do that tomorrow, and you can just write them down in those sections. Then you go through your to-do list, go for each action on there and think, right, what ones actually are quite important that need to be done tomorrow? Get those on the list as well. And then you might have some other action logs or project working group minutes or meeting minutes that you can scan through to get other actions, so they're all on there. Now, once you've got that, you've got a nice list. Don't put too many on there, maybe like 10 items, it's probably maximum, because a project manager's day is very full. And it's actually quite hard to find time to do actions throughout the day. Sometimes you have to do it multitasking on meetings. Sometimes you can, if a meeting ends early, you've got 5-10 minutes at the end of the meeting to do some actions, or you might just find yourself with 30 minutes free time as well. So yeah, so that's sorry, someone's trying to call me here. So yeah, get your 6 areas of category of to do, get them all listed, about 10 items, and then what you want to do is prioritize them, get an order for them, because again, you don't want to be deciding what do I do next. You want to go straight to your list. What am I doing? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So get them all in order. Now, a little tip, I generally like to do my meetings, setting up meetings first, because setting up a meeting, if you leave that too long, it can impact the project. If you need to speak to someone fairly quickly, don't procrastinate with setting up the meeting, because you can waste days and days just because you haven't set the meeting up. Then it can be hard to get hold of the right people at the right time. So as soon as you know you have to set up a meeting, try and get that done as soon as possible. So as a general rule, unless I've got something really urgent, I will set up the meetings first. But then it doesn't really matter what the other priorities are, just go through them, get a priority. So now I'm ready. And it really does free up some of your mental capacity, because now I can log off at the end of the day and go to bed. I know my next day is all kind of planned. I know exactly what I need to do. I don't have to think about what I need to do. It's already there on paper. So as soon as I got 5 minutes free, right, what do I need to do? Look at my list, get it done. So it's a really powerful one, both in terms of saving time, but also in terms of in a game mindset and freeing up your brain to kind of free more mental space so you can think clearly and focus clearly. So that's a good one. Doing your to-do list, ranking the orders. Oh, one final tip on that one. If you're doing the priority and you realize you've forgotten something that's more important and you've already like numbered them, just put like a one. If you're going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if you have to fit someone in somewhere, just do like 5A or 5B so you can get it in there, or do a 0 if it needs to go at the start of the list. So just to get around that. Also, don't be beholden to that priority list order. Remember, that order list is there just so you don't have to decide what you need to do next. But as you're going through the day, if you realize you have to do something before another one, just do it. You don't have to worry about, oh, I have to stick to the order in the list. The order of the list is there so you don't have to think about what to do next. But if you already know, then you don't have a problem. So if something pops up and you realize you need to do it, just get it done. Don't worry about staying to the order. Okay, what's next? Next is a concept called chunking. And I learned this from someone called Evan Pagan, and he probably got it from somewhere else. But this is the idea that you want to try and to get the best productivity out of yourself. You don't want distractions. You want to focus on whatever you're doing for a good chunk of time, ideally between 30 and an hour. 30 minutes an hour is a good chunk. Maybe 50 minutes is probably better, or 45 minutes before your mind starts to flag. So you can really focus, go at super speed, no distractions. Because once you get distracted, it not only takes you away from the thing you're doing, but you break the mindset, you break the flow state that you were getting into. You know what I'm talking about when I say flow state, like the flow state when time just flies by, when you're playing a game of chess, or you're in a deep conversation, or you're doing something you love, like a sport. That's the flow state. That's what you want to get into when you're working on something solidly. You want no distractions. You want to work on that for a chunk of time. I call it chunking. So what you want to do is try and create some time for yourself to do that. So you can turn off, put your do not disturb sign on your instant messenger. Sometimes people say you should turn off your internet, but with this role you often need to have internet connection to do things. So the best you can really do is put your do not disturb on. You can put your autoresponder on your email if you like, and you could just turn your phone off. 50 minutes is not gonna hurt anyone. And just schedule that in. So find a block of time when you're planning your day and try and schedule that in. Now, if you can't do it in the middle of the day or any time in the day, so what you can do is try and do it early in the morning before everyone starts. So like 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. Do your hour then, and if you want to take it back an hour later on to have an extra long lunch or do something else, then that's up to you to do. But the nice thing about doing it in the morning is, again, you've got no distractions, because most people aren't online, so they can't bother you about anything, and you can really, really focus. You can get so much done without distractions in that hour, and you can really focus on that high leverage stuff I was talking about. So you probably can't get too many of those in the day as a project manager. Number one, you just don't have the chance to, because you have so many meetings and things to do. But also, project management, a project manager role, you kind of need to be there all the time for your team. You need to be able to respond to things quickly. You can't just hide away for the whole day and not be accessible by your team or to your team. You need to be out there. You need to be talking to people. You need to be responding to problems as they come up. You need to be on point and bang, 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 just dealing with issues all day. So you can't do too much of this. If you can do 2 chunks a day, 2 chunks of an hour, amazing, you'll get loads done. But try and do 1 a day at least, just so you can purely focus on some important stuff that you need to get done. Okay. So we covered 3 things there, and I'm going to stop the video now. I was going to do 5, but I'm going to save the others for another video. So if you've not seen my other productivity hack video, I've done 3 others. I've done 3 in this one. I'll do another one with the next 3 as well. But I think for now, I've covered enough. So give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, please take care.